Hello, beach friends. People find the beach comforting for several reasons. The soothing sounds of waves tinkling against seashells, the natural beauty of an open horizon, the tactile feel of holding a seashell in your hand, as well as the relaxation the beach provides, giving us the freedom and a break from daily stressors. I personally was having an off week and I needed a little bit of comfort. So I decided to take a break at Lovers Key State Park. It's finally open again as it had been closed due to Hurricane Milton, and the park did sustain some damage. So we will see a little bit of the remnants of the storm, but I am here at lowest tide in hopes that I can find something neat on the beach today. And I can see those little gullies in the sand? That's when really quickly rushing water will kind of take away the sand here. And so, yes, it is clear that a hurricane came. Oh, yes, a hurricane definitely came through here. So it will be interesting to see what all is kind of left here. All right, that is an alphabet cone, albeit a rather old one. Very desirable and very collectible. Unfortunately, that one's been here a minute. So we're going to be looking for things that are just a little more let's say beautiful, colorful, spiky, with nice angles. So that's what I'm going to be hunting for at Lovers Key State Park. And if you're ready to see what else is out there for us today, let's go to the beach. Okay, we're here at Lovers Key. No headlamps, no excitement like that. Low tide is at like a little after 11 today. It was kind of a weird day for tides. I'm here at a little after 10 to kind of take advantage of the low tide and then perhaps see what the tide pushes in. Oh, yay. We'll start with the nutmeg. Now, the color's a little weird. It's supposed to be kind of like white and orange, not really that like tan and orange. That's okay. We'll take a tan and orange nutmeg. All right, nothing in that little pile. We'll see what else. I see a lot of people kind of concentrating in this area. I kind of thought that maybe, I don't know, there'd be a lot of stuff. There really wasn't. I don't know why everyone was kind of hanging out here. I wanted to check the back end. So from the Gulf to the back end of this island, you can see the way that all the trees are kind of pushing away from the Gulf and into the back bay. So you can tell water came rushing through here and pushed all these trees and everything back that way. So just to kind of give you an idea, I'm somewhere, it's probably about here, and look how wide the beach is. Well, here, let me zoom in. So I'm probably around here, and the beach is kind of, well, it used to be wide before the hurricane. At this point, this is probably much more narrow. So I can see the Gulf on one side and the bay kind of behind me. So that's what I'm going to go check out. Crowned conchs really enjoy muddy, slimy areas like this, and I enjoy crowned conchs. So I'm looking for them, but I don't see anything. So pop back out onto the beach and see, all right, there's stuff here. Why don't we start looking to see what might be here? Now, likely a lot of common stuff. Let's see if something slows me down, something catches my eye. No shortage of shells for sure. I mean, there's definitely seashells here. Oh, that's kind of fun. So this is a common egg cockle. I do not find them very often. You know what? I feel like I kind of find them after storms. Weird. But yep, that's common egg cockle. Likely named that because it looks like an egg. Not very creative. Oh, now I love these. So this is a Florida prickly cockle. The color is way off. I think that these shells were probably buried in sand that had a lot of lime in it, and it just kind of takes the color out of the shells. I know, it's kind of weird. Bree over at Beach Girl Studio told me about that over at a different beach. Now, the black shells that you find, those were also buried, but those were buried in low oxygenated sand instead of high lime content sand. So yeah, all sorts of fun things go on with the shells that get buried in the sand. I figured I'd just take a peek in the water And that was an exercise in frustration. I couldn't see. The water was very, very cloudy, so I kind of got driven back up onto the beach again. Oh, hello, Florida fighting conch with your protective periostracum. So that kind of like green layer on top of the shell, it's called periostracum. All different seashells have them, and it looks a little different sometimes on different shells. Okay, lots and lots of shells, lots of common stuff. Oh, all right, well, that's a lightning whelk, still common, but a little more colorful than some of these other shells. So that's a surf clam, that's a ponderous arc. So the ponderous arcs, I apologize, I rarely talk about them because they're so common. They'll either look white or they can look like this. The black is this shell's periostracum. So they will sometimes be white and black, but they're so common, I don't even see them. So sorry about that. I'm going to try to get a little bit better at really kind of explaining everything that you might encounter if you go out onto the beach. Now, this is a calico scallop. We have not too many kind of scallops. If you're going to find a pink or purple one, it's pretty easy. Probably going to be a calico. Now, this lovely seashell, this is a rough scallop. It's got a little bit different shape. Its little anterior wings, those little things on the bottom there, those are a little different on the rough scallops. Oh, hello, zigzag arc. I do like a good turkey wing. So yeah, that's the other name for that shell. So we got ourselves a rough scallop and a turkey wing. It's kind of moseying down the beach. Yeah. Wasn't feeling great. I really wasn't. I needed a little pick-me-up, and so I knew where to go. I went to the beach, and I also know that this will pass. This too will pass, and I was kind of looking for a sign. I don't know. I feel like we all maybe do that sometimes, and this shell was kind of like a sign. It's gonna be okay. Here, have a rose petal telling. So I do have that seashell sitting on my desk as just a reminder, everything's gonna be okay. And then look at this stunning shell. I happen to really like the really black shells. They're hard to find intact. They're almost always broken. So I kind of like that black shell. Was that a sign too? I don't know. It's probably just a seashell, but it made me feel a little bit better. All right, I'm back in the chocolate milk here. That's what I figured I would try. Oh, hi. All right, so here is another Florida fighting conch. I feel like lately I've been finding like narrow ones, if that's even a description. So that is a narrow Florida fighting conch or West Indian fighting conch. And maybe we can just agree they have two names. Some of these shells have two names. Why not that one? So the water was not very productive. I keep pushing. I keep trying to stay in the water. Winter's coming and I will be driven onto the beach all winter. Here's some garbage that I managed to rescue out of the sand. I'm very excited about the garbage. So after hurricanes, I'll probably get that garbage total up there for me. Okay, now let's talk about feathers. So in the United States, including in Florida, it is generally illegal to collect or remove feathers from beaches as they could be coming from migratory birds and they are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. So yeah, you're not allowed to remove feathers, eggs, nests, not that I would do that, but I can't believe that. Probably a lot like coral. Like they just say no, it protects everybody. It's just the way it is. So yep, don't take coral. Don't take feathers. I don't make the rules. I just follow them most of the time. Okay, Atlantic giant cockle. Yeah, I do. The first thing I'll do is turn it over and inspect that gorgeous cranberry color. Sometimes it's light pink. It absolutely delights me. So I'm going to go ahead and hold on to that. So that is a shark eye moon snail. It would have been really great if I found it, by the looks of it, maybe about 2 months ago. So I'm going to leave that here and keep hunting for those elusive, pretty seashells. Oh, speaking of pretty seashells, so banded tulips, you can pretty much rely on those. Those are relatively common, but still really kind of fun to collect, in my humble opinion. So there is this, I'm wondering if this is always here. I tend to only really kind of come at low tide. This is kind of like a little island. So I figured I'd come over here and kind of check it out. Just in case, hey, you never know what other kind of treasures are over here. Oh, little horse conch. Okay. fabulous. Fabulous little horse conch, Florida State shell. And with just a little bit of effort, that little like beach stuff, that comes right off. Oh, this really feels peaceful and beautiful. I'm going to be quiet and let you enjoy some beach time. Okay, there are some clues here. So obviously some of the time this is covered in water. That green stuff only grows in when there's water. So typically this is covered. I don't know if the whole little outcrop or this whole little island is covered. Oh, hi, Sunray Venus clam. Oh, you're so pretty. Very common, frankly, the hinged Sunray Venus clam, but it still makes me happy. And look, I found another arc. So this is a turkey wing or a zigzag arc. Can't think of any. I think this particular shell only has two names. And they're common names. The scientific name will be completely different. Would you look at that? So this is a calico scallop. I've never seen one with like white strawberry spots on it. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, we have some diggers. So some people like to dig. I like to walk myself. Some people like to sit in piles, but there's a little section I want to go check out. And I could not believe, I think this is the first straw I've ever removed from a beach. I don't know. You would think I see straw and I just see it coming out of a turtle's nose, but we're going to get that in the garbage. Now this little ecosystem here on this banded tulip, we're looking at some slipper snails. So those live animals will kind of stack on top of each other. There's actually 3 of them there. There's the one, and when there's 2 others on top of the slipper snails. And then there's a couple of barnacles. Terrible spot. I mean, I don't think that's a very smart spot to set up camp if I was a barnacle, but I don't really know how much choice they actually have. They kind of float around until they find a spot to hang out. This lettered olive, not albino. And there's that little notch where the animal would come out. So I know it feels weird. It feels opposite, but the pointy part is actually the back of the shell. A surf clam that has been buried. Yeah, I could tell by that color. Usually they're pretty white, but that's kind of neat. And I don't know what kind of sand that was buried in, but it's still a little different. And I don't get scallops that big. Yeah, I'll probably hang on to that one. It needs a little cleanup, but yeah, it's kind of a slow shell day. I can't be too picky. Okay, more of that algae, which is really, really slippery. So if you're going to be walking on that, be super careful. Oh, let's remove Cerveza masfina. Let's get that off the beach. All right, so now at this point, I'm looking for crown conchs. Oh, well, I got distracted by some garbage. I thought this was the lid to something, I guess but it's actually a collapsible bucket, which honestly I think is kind of cool. I think I'm going to see if I can find a kid. Maybe I can recycle this with a child that could maybe use that. So we'll see if that works out. So it's really beautiful back here, kind of protected. See, it's actually green because all those other trees to the left took a battering when the storm came through. And I am not seeing one live crown conch. No shells, no animals, none of the nasses, nothing. None of the living snails I would normally find. And that's such a bummer. Now, this is a false angel wing. So it kind of looks similar to an angel wing. However, false angel wings are actually closer to Venus clams than they are to angel wings. Go figure, right? Now, the false angel wings will have a hinge. This one is hinged. They're attached to each other. True angel wings don't have a hinge. Go figure. All right, we're going to get that garbage off the beach. Oh, a knicker nut. Okay, so that I shook it because they have like a little seed inside. So those are called knicker nuts. It's a gray knicker nut. And the word knicker comes from knicker, the Dutch word for toy marble, which is not all that much of a stretch. Those really do look like they could be little toy marbles. A little baby lettered olive. So yeah, it's just a very small lettered olive. And the small shells are kind of fun because it's either going to be a species that's very small or it's just going to be a young version. So we have another Sunray Venus clam, and it looks like the ink got smeared. Like it was printing and then the ink got smeared. Oh, interesting. So this clam was eaten probably by a shark eye. So because they have countersunk holes when they drill in there. So yeah. Somebody probably slurped up that clam. Oh, here we go. So this is a crown conch shell. It's okay. You know, from a condition standpoint, it's okay. I'm going to keep it. I mean, there's no question about that. But look, I was really kind of hoping to see the critters. All right, apple murex. And I'm like, it's pretty much, the color seems to be quote unquote normal, what I would expect. Not really that bleached out color. So we have a little apple murex. I wanted to rinse it off. It really is kind of pretty, isn't it? Yeah, especially for today. So yeah, today is a little bit slower of a shell day. Here is a kitten paw, not a lion's paw. Those are going to have to go to the other side of the state, the east coast of Florida. But over here, we do at least have kitten paws. Another horse conch. A little tiny little thing, that's fine. Yeah, and the coloring is a little weird. So stuff that I'm finding today, it's just a little. Some of the stuff's different. This is a dark seraph, complete with its little bumps and whatnot. Relatively common. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Some common shells I really like. Now this is a buttercup lucine. Oh dear, it's like a diet buttercup lucine. All right, not really. I enjoy seeing the different colors, and that one doesn't have a very rich color. I figure like half the calories, half the color. Actually, this one's probably a little bit more like quarter of the color. All right, I do see a lightning whelk sliding around in there. Okay. Okay, no, yep, not a keeper. It's got some other critters in there. So it's got some like eastern white slipper snails, barnacle. Yeah, we're not going to keep that. I have a very strict leave critters at the beach policy. Now, because it was kind of a slow day, it activates another part of my brain, and you see the holes in this wood, and you can actually see the remnants of the animals. So there are animals called wood pittocks. I don't think that these are what those are. I don't know, but I find it fascinating that these creatures dig holes, and so when you see those circular holes in the wood, that's what it's from. These little mollusks that kind of bury themselves in the wood. Oh, isn't that weird and neat all at the same time? Yep. So I don't know that I really thought about it. It was like, oh, there's wood and there's holes in it. And then I kind of got a little more interested. I see some barnacles on here. So clearly this piece of wood was out in the water at some point, and then the storm probably, pushed it onto the beach. Interesting, right? Now, as it turns out, some of those creatures also kind of burrow holes into shells and also into limestone. Now this, I pulled one out and that's what it looks like. Oh, isn't it weird? So I know that it's dead, some sort of dead creature. Neat, right? Yeah, so I guess the little animal goes in there and as it grows, it kind of eats I don't know how that works. That's something that's for another episode. And then I was mentioning that they can also drill into, or these things can, yep, that's a hagstone. That could have been water. I suspect it's probably a creature that actually kind of made that circle in that hole, but that's called a hagstone. And I'm actually going to collect that little rock. Oh, lettered olive with your glossy exterior. You're so perfect with your points and your little letters. Lovely lettered olive. Okay, another rose petal talon. Oh, I'm going to pair that with this very yellow fighting conch, which is nice. Look at all like the muted colors of the beach, which is also really pretty in and of itself. but I'm really kind of enjoying these pops of color. You know, a little bit of pink and yellow to brighten up my day. Okay, oh, that was a close one. Another apple murex. That may or may not have been buried, hard to say. So they do kind of have like a blonde and then like a brunette version of the coloring. Oh, hi, nutmeg, another one. Yep, cute little nothing wrong with you. Got your little point, chubby little thing, nice color, little common nutmeg. All right, a fighting conch. All right, oh, that stromboid notch. I know it's a little green, it's okay. It's got nice spikes. I am kind of particular. I know I really like the fighting conchs, but I do have standards. I don't take them all, just a lot. So this is also an apple murex that, you know, in addition to albinism or things being albinistic or albino, you can have melanism. And that's something else I've been just with the coloring, just kind of thinking about. That was obviously buried, in my opinion, in low oxygenated sand because the whites are kind of going gray. So we have a brunette apple murex and kind of a gray common nutmeg. Okay, here's a nice little pile. With everything kind of oh man. So much for low tide, I'll tell you what. Well, it is what it is. I mean, the beach, that's a surf clam. There's just not a whole lot of sand after that Milton came through. Everybody, I think, up the west coast of Florida has something to say about sand and that Milton storm. Yeah, okay, a mossy arc. All right, broad rib cardita. Common, but slippery little fella. All right. So we have broad rib cardita and then a mossy arc, kind of like the weird cousin of the turkey wing. But I'm going to hold on to that cardita. All right, here's a fighting conch. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, obviously it has a hole. I'm not going to collect that. What about you? All right, calico scallop. You're relatively good. All right, might as well grab that one too. 2 calico scallops. Okay, are you spiny? So a spiny jewel box. It's spiny-ish. So a spiny-ish jewel box and 2 calico scallops. Now this is a Florida prickly cockle, but it's albino. I find probably every other time I go to the beach, so pretty common. But oh, I just love them. So an albino Florida prickly cockle. Now see, here's a quote-unquote regular Florida prickly cockle. They're all prickly, and then you flip it over, and it's just got those beautiful colors. Yeah. You know, frankly, it don't take much to make me happy. All right, so we have a little piece of garbage. Now, this is our beach, and our water kind of goes blurp. Blurp. Now that is not going to make the glass frosty and kind of cure the edges. So anytime I find glass, it goes in the recycling because that is just not going to get cooked into proper sea glass. I mean, maybe like eventually, but I don't leave glass on the beach. Now it's funny, this particular shell, I do think it is a bay scallop. Kind of unusual that it has those like white kind of like bursts in it. And then I went over to my shell collection and I started looking at all the bay scallops and all the calico scallops. And I think I might have figured out a little thing to kind of tease them apart, the ones that are questionable. I'll show you. The next time I can demonstrate on the beach, I will do just that. All right, this is a cut-ribbed arc. Relatively common, not quite as common as the ponderous arc. Nowhere as cool as the blood arc, because I don't get them over here. So it is curious how some shells, very, very common, I still absolutely adore them, and some I don't even see. I don't know, but that is a cut-ribbed arc. That is a shark eye. Aw, great size too. But, yeah, you've been hanging out here a little too long, so I'm just going to let you hang out here a little bit longer. Oh, crown conch, cool. All right, nice color. Its spikes on top are weird. Kind of look like the spikes on the bottom spikes. Oh, that is a pear whelk. Great saturation in the color. I know it's got a little chip in it. I think I'm going to keep it though. So that's a bay scallop. And that is a bay scallop. Nice color saturation on that. Oh yeah, it looks so pretty. Yep, you got your tan background, and there are some colorful shells here. And some twirly shells as well. So that is a Fargo worm snail. Oh, a quahog. So the color on that is way off. So those quahogs are like those big honkin' like clam shells. Not just a little itty bitty one that the color is off on that one. So we got a quahog, a little worm snail. The cross-barred Venus clam. Now, sometimes the inside can be that purple or that bright yellow color. This is another shell. I'm trying to mention it a little more. Very, very common. There's sand, there's a cross-barred Venus clam. It's just a very, very common shell. I see spikes. Oh, those are good spikes. Yes. So that is a spiny jewel box. Oh, yeah. Yep. Do like those shells. Now, the hinge on those is actually really strong. So not uncommon to find a hinged spiny jewel box. So pretty. Bay scallop, just like a perfect. Now, if the color was a little different, I might have a hard time telling the difference between that and a calico. But I think, like I said, I think I figured out a little trick. Okay, nacre or mother of pearl. That is something else. It's kind of funny that it's just dotted on the beach, and I also tend to ignore it. Sorry about that, because it's kind of always there. But that comes from a pen shell that I also tend to overlook a lot. So the pen shell makes that nacre, those little pieces that you'll find. It's actually rather delicate, the nacre. But yeah, I know, I don't collect pen shells. They're just almost always there, kind of uninteresting. Wow. This is like screaming orange. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, a little calico scallop. Sometimes the orange, I think in my opinion, they're a little more rare, a little harder to find. Okay. If you see a dancing bird looking for food, that's going to be a reddish egret. So in the background there, reddish egret. And once again, I was kind of hoping I could poke around and look for some crown conchs. But as it turns out, I really was just entertained by the bird. And that was about all that was here. The reddish egret is kind of fun because they come in white too. So I know it's called reddish egret, but it's possible that you would have a white bird just kind of dancing around as well. Now, these weird little globby things, I admit I've been seeing them for years. I don't know what they are. This is the first time, though, that I'm noticing that those globby things are coming out of holes. So, is it a worm? I thought maybe it's some sort of weird egg sac? I don't know, but it's coming out of holes. So there's something buried in there making those weird egg sacs, or those weird gooey things. If anybody knows, please leave a comment below. So that was it. There was no crown conchs, but I did manage to take a lot of garbage off the beach, which always really makes me happy. So I didn't find a kid to get rid of that bucket. I'm going to hold on to it as long as it stays out of the landfill. So today's garbage, 1 pound, 10.75 ounces. And so in total, I've removed a little over 61 pounds of garbage from the beach. Now today I organized the shells into gastropods and then bivalves. So from the gastropods, we have some Florida fighting conchs, the lightning whelk, a banded tulip, some shark eyes, horse conch, lettered olive, a seraph, a tinted cantharus, some crown conchs, nutmegs, apple murex, and then the worm snails. And then for bivalves, we got the giant Atlantic cockle, cut-ribbed arca, quahog, some bay scallops, the sunray Venus clam, spiny jewel box, buttercup lucine, turkey wings, false angel wing, some surf clams, egg cockle, kitten paws, the cross-barred Venus clam, rose petal talons, rough scallops, Florida prickly cockle, including an albino, bay scallops, and then calico scallops. I love that one strawberry looking one. So, Lover's Key, I have to admit, it didn't have as many goodies as I would have expected after a storm, but it soothed my soul. It did what I needed it to do. Patreons, I really should just call you my sponsors. Because of you, I don't have to make up ads for like toothpaste or diapers or I don't know, whatever kind of stuff I really don't care about. I really care about the beach, taking garbage off it, being kind to people. So that's what I want to do. So anyway, next week we are headed to South Marco and I get around the jetty. I will tell you all about it. We will go exploring. I found a super cool shell. I am excited to share it with you. So I hope you have a great week and I'll see you again next Sunday.